Okay, so you're probably getting to some level of fatigue. So how do you apply Mulabandha in your practice? You have, in meditation I don't apply bandhas. In pranayama I apply bandhas during retentions, and during asana, bandha throughout, the entire time. I never let it go. But how much? So I want you to Moolabandha 100% right now. 100% physical. Okay? You got it? Now cut it in half.
Okay.
Now cut it in half again.
Okay.
Okay, one more time, cut it in half.
Okay.
Okay, and for you right now, you might even cut it in half again. So somewhere between 6 and 12%, let's say, which is roughly what I do when you cut it in half like that. Somewhere around 10%. 10% is that level, that sensation of Mulabandha when you're doing practice. As soon as I step on my mat, I take my first inhale. That Mulabandha starts, and the Mulabandha does not end until I'm in Shavasana.
Do you have to focus on it? Do you focus on it?
Only when I am losing it. So it's become so familiar to me that I sometimes will notice if I wasn't holding it, and I'll be like, oh, I let it go, and then I'll bring it back. Also, there are some postures that I'll hold it even tighter, because it does have a physical effect in that it can stabilize the pelvis. So in particular, back bendings or really deep lotus postures, I might hold Mulabandha stronger. And at that point, I mean, there's a system of thought called synergy yoga, and he talks about bandhas are co-activations of muscles around joint spaces, and that they push fluid away from the joint complex. Or if you do, he has something called an open bandha, a ta. He calls it a ta bandha, that will draw fluid into the joint space. But he's thinking of it in and he's describing it in a very physical way. I think of it as more of an energetic thing. I literally see and feel a thread of energy from my pelvic floor to my tailbone, and when it comes into alignment with some phenomenon or something, then it shoots up my spine. A little bit. It usually doesn't go kind of above the sternum, but sometimes it'll go all the way to the head. And also, sometimes if I feel myself getting tired, if I'm ever getting tired in my yoga practice, I'll show you one of these days Uddiyana Bandha, which is highly charging also. They go together, Mulabandha and Uddiyana Bandha, but it took, what is this, like 30 minutes? I don't see the time.
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
It took 25 minutes to teach you this, and you're already at a high level, and so I don't want to get into Uddiyana Bandha now. But in fact, this video is probably way too long. I'll break it into 7 parts, be like Mulabandha part 1, Mulabandha part 6.